right, it's great to have you join us. This is 32 FM 94.9. It's the morning of the 12th of September 2024, and it's time to take you through the major headlines coming out of the newspapers. This morning, I am Kenny Dorotilo.
Good morning. My name is DENIKE Ademowagon. We start off with the front page this morning. I have with me the Punch newspaper, the Vanguard, the Guardian this day. I'll start off with the Punch newspaper. And the first story, how governors spent $50 billion excess crude funds. And away from that, Mpox outbreak spreads to 23 states. Marketers, refiners demand total subsidy removal. And Edo governorship poll, INEC warns against violence as police deploy 35,000 officers. Obaseki threatens to boycott peace rally. All of that around that story, Edo governorship poll. So the major story, Borno flood, 1 million persons affected, 414,000 displaced. Death toll hits 30, victims sleep on streets. Neymar opens 9 IDP camps, Bayelsa flooded after downpour. And away from that major story, student loan beneficiaries lament delayed allowance. Hunger protesters get 100 million naira bill barred from further demonstrations. And that's on the red corner of things. Federal government to register federal government to register untitled lands. We take some more stories still on the front page of the paper this morning. And this one says Borno floods, dams and climate change. That's an editorial out of the Punch newspaper. Governor's wife urges women to embrace famine. That's the wife of the Lagos State Governor, Dr. Ibijoke Sanwo-Olu. And Cross River Neighborhood Watch to safeguard lives, enforce environmental sanitation. And lastly, from the Punch newspaper, fans want Iguavon to continue as Eagles coach. That's on the sports side of things on the Punch this morning.
From the Premium Times major story, federal government Labour engaging claims, counterclaims over Jero's arrest. Nigeria's cholera case surges to 128% with Lagos as epicenter. NCDC. GTCO reports biggest ever profit by Nigerian listed company in 6 months. Nigerian government warns of imminent surge in Lassa fever. Nigerian government raises over $900 million in landmark dollar bond. There's also another one there. Shetima says Maiduguri floods most catastrophic in decades as victims agencies assess impact. Court grants bill to #end bad governance protesters accused of treason. Federal government Labour already took that. Benin chiefs resort to traditional rites to ward off evil during Edo election. Petroleum price lawmaker vows to sponsor motion for Kyari's removal. Also from the Premium Times, governor accuses NNPC of failing to remit all revenues to Nigerian government for over 5 months. At least 3 persons killed as speeding vehicle rams into market. Edo 2024 appeal court affirms Olumide Akpata as Labour Party's governorship candidate. And Mpox cases in Nigeria now 67 official. Some of the headlines from the Premium Times.
And we take a look at the Vanguard newspaper. The first story says Edo Guba tension as IGP Obaseki PDP disagree over police alleged bias. Tinubu will land Nigeria safely from turbulence. Akume. UK-based Nigerian nurse left 10-week-old baby to die while she went to work. Personal assistant who killed, dismembered Go-Kada founder sentenced to 40 years in jail. Food sufficiency remains federal government's priority. This according to the Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation. How genital from mutilated girls is sold for dark magic in Ivory Coast. DSS never invited Ajaero before arresting him at airport, according to the NLC. And some more here says flawed Borno SEMA, the State Emergency Management Agency, Borno SEMA, rescues 719 victims. Security aids to VIPs withdrawn, 35,000 policemen, 8,000 others. And Tinubu's aid sliding into fascism, according to Afenifere. Some more stories here. IPOB replies Buhari's aid, comparing Nnamdi Kanu And some more also says Ondo Guba 2 million voters to determine fate of Aiyedatiwa. Drama as Nasarawa Speaker locks out staff for resuming late to work. And lastly, from the Vanguard newspaper, flood cuts off 5 villages in Kaduna local government.
All right, from the Daily Post, flood Borno Sema rescues 719 victims. Naira gains massively against dollar. That's talking business and economy there. Out of the Daily Post, Tinubu government gradually sliding into fascism. Fanny Ferry alleges. We didn't forfeit our gratuities, pensions to Abia government. Pensioners Forum insist. Gunmen demand 30 million naira ransom. Motorcycles from abducted Kaduna councillorship aspirant. Other headlines. 5,776 athletes register for National Youth Games. Arm yourselves with relevant laws for smooth practice, Ojo tells Nigerian journalist. Out of school menace, Ogun government reiterates commitment to free education. NSCDC arrests 5 suspected illegal miners in Oyo. Senator Natasha commiserates flood victims in Borno Bauchi. Banditry Turji. Bello confirms imposing 50 million naira on Zamfara residents in new video. Politics, Edoguba, police waging war against us. PDP may not sign peace accord. That's according to Obaseki. And lastly, from the Daily Post, 2027, Jonathan won't run for president. Ex-First Lady, patience.
All right, to the Vanguard newspaper, flawed. Over 280 inmates escaped from Maiduguri Correctional Center. 120 million girls remain out of school worldwide. Depreciation weakens imports as trade surplus hits 6.95 trillion naira in Q2. ECOWAS holds final deliberation on highway 10 years after. Flood kills 49 in Kano, cuts off 5 villages in Kaduna. Police investigate killing of orphan, others in Anambra. And some more here, still on the Vanguard, the Guardian, I beg your pardon. Policing amid lean resources, federal government spends 131 billion naira subsidizing VIPs protection yearly. Of the 400,000 policemen in the country, 150,000 officers are attached to VIPs and unauthorized persons. And there's a breakdown of the average MPF basic pay monthly on the front page of the Guardian. Also, the Nigerian Police Force MPF budget for 2001 through to 2024 is also on the Guardian this morning. And some more bureaucracy, how not to promote child adoption policy. Obaseki downbeat on signing peace accord as Edo Guba tensions heighten. NCDC confirmed 67 Mpox cases, 982 Lassa fever cases, 168 deaths. And court grants 10 #End Bad Governance protesters 100 million naira bail. And lastly, from the Guardian newspaper, local government poll and NPP kicks as 20 aspirants fail drug test in Kano. We go on our first commercial break. When we return, we are going to be diving into the analysis of the headlines. Do stay with us.
Stay tuned to 32 FM 94.9.
Oṣù mẹ́fà ẹ bá mi dúpẹ́. Oṣù mẹ́fà ẹ bá mi dúpẹ́. Ó ti yẹ kó oṣù mẹ́fà nìyẹn. Ọmọ ò máa ń pẹ́ dàgbà o. Báyìí o, ọmọ rẹ ti wá nílò ju omi ọyàn nìkan lọ o. Àkókò ti tó láti máa fún un ní oúnjẹ fífọ́. Ní àfikún sí ọyàn, rí i dájú pé àwọn oúnjẹ ọmọ rẹ ní ó kéré tán ọ̀kan lára àwọn oúnjẹ àfọ́pọ̀ márùn-ún wọ̀nyí. Ẹyin, ẹja tàbí ẹran, èso àti ewébẹ̀, epo tàbí òróró, ẹ̀wà, ẹ̀pà tàbí sóyà, ìrẹsì, ọ̀dùnkún, àgbàdo tàbí iṣu. Ọmọ rẹ bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti oṣù mẹ́fà nílò omi ọyàn àtàwọn oúnjẹ wọ̀nyí fún ìdàgbàsókè àti ìlera. Máa fún wọn lọ́yàn títí yóò fi pé ọmọ ọdún 2 àti jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ.
Ìkéde yìí wá láti àkànṣe INT'L, iléeṣẹ́ tó ń mójútó ètò ìlera ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́.
When it's football you want, get it all on DSTV. All the leagues, all the cups, all the matches live. Because when it comes to football, we've got it all. All day, all night. No matter what package you're on, you're always going to get football on DSTV.
Get an HD decoder at the promo offer of 22,900 naira and stay connected. DSTV, your home of football.
Start your day and have a good time.
𝐃𝐈𝐒 creamer.
Where you need to have the break time.
𝐃𝐈𝐒 creamer.
It's not tea, but Gary time.
𝐃𝐈𝐒 creamer. 𝐃𝐈𝐒 creamer.
When shopping for a car, you say
leather seats, alloy rims, V8 engine, extra cooling AC, rear view camera.
But when buying anti-malaria drugs, you say,
is it not malaria? Anyone will do.
Choose your malaria drugs the same way you choose your car. Always ask for Coartem. It's also available in cherry-flavored dispersible tablets for children. Don't gamble with malaria. Choose right. Choose Coartem. If symptoms persist after 3 days, please consult your doctor.
Babies are God's gifts to parents, and breast milk is God's gift to babies. It contains all the important nutrients and minerals your baby needs, including water, for the first 6 months. Give your baby breast milk only. Remember, breast milk only for the first 6 months. This message is from the Anrin Project or your state's Ministry of Health.
Start your day and have a good time.
𝐃𝐈𝐒 creamer.
Where you need to have the break time.
𝐃𝐈� creamer.
It's not tea, but Gary time.
𝐃𝐈𝐒 creamer. 𝐃𝐈𝐒 creamer.
Why do we love stories? Is it because we see ourselves reflected in the different characters? Or is it the unimagined worlds we may never be in but can experience for an hour or more? So intriguing that it leaves us spellbound. Is it the thrill, the tears, the emotions, the fears? Or is it just because we love the stories we've never felt before?
Find the stories you love on Netflix with plans starting from 2,200 naira.
Guys, let's go and get seats at that table with semovita.
Sorry, this table is reserved for the bride's family.
Do you know who I am? I'm the older brother of the sister's last uncle who married their first cousin.
Everybody wants a seat at the Golden Penny Semovita table. Golden Penny Semovita remains my soup's first choice. It's made from premium wheat and fortified with vitamins and minerals to provide a wholesome bowl food that pairs well with Nigerian soups. Golden Penny Semovita, my soup's first choice.
All 380 games are about to come alive on your mobile phone. Step into the Premier League with Showmax.
This is the league we want to watch.
No matter where you are, your favorite teams are just a tap away.
Here now is the big business that truly stirs.
Sign up on the Premier League plan on Showmax.com. Create your account, download the Showmax app, and stream the Premier League for only 3,200 naira right on your mobile. It's your stadium on the move.
My baby is 6 months old. Oh my! 6 months old? Wow! Now your baby needs more than breast milk. It's time to introduce mashed meals. In addition to breast milk, begin to give your baby mashed meals that contain at least one item from each of these 5 food groups: eggs, fish or meat, fruits and vegetables, oils, beans, groundnuts, soya or millet, rice, potato, maize or yam from 6 months. In addition to breast milk, your baby needs this combination of food types to grow healthy. This message is from the Anrin Project or your state's Ministry of Health.
You're listening to 32 FM 94.9.
Thank Thank you for staying with us on the Break It On Papers review. It's now 45 minutes gone past 6 a.m. and it's time to dive into the analysis of the stories. We've got Professor 𝐂𝐎𝐒𝐄𝐑 joining us live this morning for the analysis. He's joining us virtually. Good morning, Prof.
Well, top of the day to you.
It's great to have you join us, Prof. We'll delve into the issues right now.
All right, Prof. We're going to start off with the 10 million naira situation, and I mean the 100 million naira. That's 10 protesters, hashtag End Bad Governance protesters, that the court granted bail of 10 million naira each. That was yesterday. The protesters were charged with treason-related offences connected to last month's hashtag End Bad Governance. They pleaded not guilty, and some of the charges also says something about plotting war and attempting to overthrow the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. What's your take on this one as regards the conversation across social media and the likes amongst a couple of people is the fact that this presidency or this government is starting to operate like a military regime of some sort. And there was also something about Serap that maybe there was an invasion, but Serap says it was an invasion, but the DSS says it was a routine investigation and all of that. I mean, we know the role that Serap plays in terms of bringing some of these issues to the forefront, and then something like this happens. And linking that to Judge Iro as well, and the picking up and the investigation going on and all of that. So I just want you to bring that together and discuss.
Well, I would hope that we are not entering a repressive era. I hope we are not entering a sort of quasi-military era, because we pretend, and we pretended for almost 20 years plus to be a democracy. I've always argued that we have civilian government rather than a democracy. But be as it may, I think no serious-minded person would agree. You understand? We haven't seen the evidence, but on the face of it, that there was any treason or any terrorism involved in the protest. Of course, some might suggest that some were guilty of a breach of the peace. In other words, breaching the peace means that you're causing a disturbance. But I don't think anything there, any evidence there, rises to the level of treason. You have to remember that in the Showore case, he was tried with treason or treasonable felony, as the case might be, and see where it ended. You understand? And he quite openly was calling for revolution now, and the court dismissed the case. So it's a fishing expedition. I believe the government should be chasing the guy, I can't remember his name, the guy in the Sokoto area, that bandit there. They should be chasing. Pardon?
Sergi Bello.
Jibil, yes. They should be chasing, you understand, the terrorists and insurgents. That's where the government should be investing its efforts, not these protesters. So I am not suggesting the protesters are angels or whiter than white, but I'm saying that nothing that they did so far rises to the level of terrorism. Secondly, the government should get to the root of the matter as to why people find it necessary to protest. The root of the matter is poverty. The root of the matter is inflation. The root of the matter is unemployment. The root of the matter is insecurity. Those are the roots of the matter that the government should explore. So yes, it's a good development that they've now got the bail at such an expensive level. 10 million is a lot to many people, but at least they've got the bail, and I'm hoping that their lawyer will be able to argue effectively and get these charges dismissed for what they are worth. But obviously we haven't seen the evidence. We wait for the government to produce the evidence.
Prof, what about the side, the angle to this, where, I mean, like you said, 10 million naira for a lot of Nigerians right now is quite a sum of money. And what about the angle as regards people now being scared? Because there's a protest supposed to come up in October, according to some report here and there, and is this some sort of dissuasion that is it a thing of, okay, you can protest but don't try to overthrow the government or something like that, or it's just a total dissuasion? Like, what do you think is going on underground here as regards imposing or putting that bill at such an amount? Is it a sort of thing to put fear in the minds of people so that even if they are suffering, they keep smiling and they cannot come out to talk about it?
Well, first and foremost, it's at the discretion of the judge legally and they can decide at what level. But also the judge has to take into account, you understand, similar crimes and at what level the bail is. I think the problem is the word treason attached to it. So if treason is attached to something, then the judge is bound in terms of the bail application to take it very, very seriously. But the mere fact that the judge is granting bail in a treason application already gives you an indication that he doesn't really take the evidence, at least the initial evidence, that seriously. Of course, it is too much. And of course, some might argue that it's designed, you understand, to prevent these people from walking the streets while the trial is going on. But having said that, with the rate at which the naira is falling, I'm just hoping that there will be some people that will be able to, back them up for the bail, at least the bond, the surety, as the case might be. I think it's not going to be too difficult getting the surety because, bail is not necessarily the money that you put down. You have to get bond and surety, and if they don't turn up, that's when you forfeit the amount of money. But I would say the fact that they've got bail shows you that the discretion is in their favor at the moment.
All right, Prof, you already brought it up. We'll just go there, talking about Bello Turji and his antics in Zamfara. He's confirmed imposing a 50 million naira tax on residents of Moriki town in Zamfara. He said the tax was imposed on the town following the killing of cattle and all of that. What do you make of that situation, where this is going in 2024, still having to deal with situations like this, talking about security as a nation?
Well, the guy has been taunting the government on TikTok, TikTok more specifically, and it shows you that for now, the government is incapacitated. For now, doesn't mean they won't catch up with him, and it's making a mockery of governance. For him to be issuing imposition of taxes shows you that he's deluded, and it compares itself to a sovereign. But in his delusion, he's been able to carry out a lot of atrocities. So whilst we say he's deluded, we have the basic impotence so far of the military or the security services to be able to track him down. They've not been able to track him down through the TikTok account. They've not been able to track him down through the telephone calls that he makes. He uses telephone calls on social media. So I think it's trying to show them that you can search, you can look for me, but I will still continue to operate, and I will act with impunity. I think the earlier the government finds a way to curtail him, the better we begin to take this government in terms of security, insecurity as it were. And people will be arguing, as I've argued before, that the government's priority should be on people like him rather than people protesting, you understand, the living conditions that exist in Nigeria today.
Prof, do you think that the AYCF National President, Yerima Shetima, that's the Arawa Youth Consultative Forum, has a point when he, and linking to what you just spoke about, that the president may have difficulty securing Northerners' support in 2027 if he fails to tame the insecurity in the region?
First and foremost, let's just say that it's too early to be talking about 2027. So I'm surprised that they're going that far yet. But having said that, I'm sure the president is a politician. And of course, it must be at the back of his mind. You understand that if I cannot do this, if I cannot tame insecurity, then I would have failed. Because security and the welfare of the people of the country constitutionally is the number one priority of government. So already it sees you that Nigeria is getting earlier and earlier. It used to be 2 years to elections, 18 months before people started. But now they've already started positioning themselves. So I think whilst I say it's too early, I think the president, of course, will have to take them seriously and act accordingly. But it's not just going to be the north of the country that will decide the election. It's going to be the entire country itself.
All right, Prof, let's talk about the Borno flood crisis. We understand that over 1 million people are affected, with 414,000 displaced. The federal government's allocation of 3 billion has been done for relief efforts. The governor of the state as well has also announced cash distributions of 10,000 naira per household, and that has been made to some of the flood victims right there. The issue of sustainable flood prevention and disaster management, Prof, what would it take to get it right?
First and foremost, let's just be clear that it appears that this flood was really caused by, some will say, by the collapse, you understand, of the dam. So yes, the climate change plays a role, but it's actually a structural issue as well as a climate issue from that point of view. it means that our dams and our infrastructure, if they're not readily maintained and they're not readily, assessed, then they can, under the weight of the climate change that is occurring, they can, of course, give way. And that appears to be the case. But let us give kudos to the Borno government. They've been one of the best in terms of governance, and the response was quite on the board. What they tried to do was to get people out away to the higher ground as quickly as possible. We don't know what the toll is, but the toll on human suffering is quite high. You can see that water covers vehicles, and people are staying on the top of roofs. So the government will have to give it its priority. And when I mean the government, I don't just mean the Borno state government, I mean the federal government. But there's also a limit to what the federal government can do, which therefore means that charities and various philanthropists might also have to intervene. But I think the lesson for each and every one of us is that we have to take care of our environment. We have to be more vigilant, because what can happen in Borno, in Maiduguri, can happen anywhere in the country if we are not vigilant environmentally.
What do you say some of the residents should take part of the blame, seeing as NIMET actually made calls? There was announcements about that. We heard that 1/3 of the city was actually affected and all of that. Do you think that people should have responded better to some of the information put out there by the authorities?
Yes, I believe so. You understand? But I think the last time a flood on that level happened was quite a while ago. So people are bound to be skeptical, and it's not easy living your environment on the basis of some forecast by the relevant authorities. Yes, as an educated person, we should respond to it appropriately. But a lot of people, their level of education, of course, is still limited, and therefore they may not respond to it. So NIMET, yes, I've been going on about it for a while. But I think people, yes, the responsibility to respond is also on them, but better education is also on the government. But I will also put a final point of view that the way in which we dispose our wastes is also a contributory factor. Most Nigerians today dispose their waste anyhow. I'm talking about bottles, sachets, and so on. And that also a little help. Every little action that we take will help in terms of stemming the tide of climate change.
All right, to take a look at this one, according to the IMF, they are speaking to the federal government to protect the poor from impact of petrol price hike and this ongoing pricing and supply crisis in the downstream sector. The IMF is tasking the federal government to prioritize building and accelerating a social safety net to protect vulnerable citizens. Also, they were hinting, according to the IMF representative in Nigeria, Dr. Christian, he was saying that the petrol is still selling below market price. So there's a possibility of a further upward price movement. So where do we go from here as regards what can happen in terms of the instability or instability of petrol price in Nigeria?
First and foremost, I would say let the poor man breathe. I mean, it's been said before. And if it goes beyond what it is, already, even as it is, people are already suffering incalculably. People are already dying in some instances, and people can hardly go to work. So you can imagine it's unspeakable if it goes beyond that. So the government has to come up with an alternative to cushion whatever the so-called market prices are. But having said that, if you are paying attention to the global market, you will discover that the price of petrol has gone below $70 per barrel for the first time in a long time. And of course, we should benefit from that. If we are subject to the market forces, then really the price of petrol or PMS should come down, especially if it's being imported and their landing costs. The cost of PMS has gone down because obviously crude oil has gone down in the world. So those are the things that we have to look out for. So yes, government has to play its role, but the market also has to kick in, especially when the price comes down globally. We have to benefit from it too.
All right, we have to go on a break now, and when we return, open the phone lines to take your reactions. We're live on our Facebook page and YouTube as well. It's 32FM 949 Ibadan. Don't go anywhere.
Stay tuned to 32FM 94.9.
My heart is burning. My head,
My body everywhere is burning. Ah, Ura. Ura.
What could drive this iron lady to a breaking point? Find out in Wura, Season 3, a Showmax original telenovela. Subscribe from 1,600 Naira monthly. Sign up now at showmax.com.
Ǹjẹ́ òun wọ́nà láti dáàbòbo àmúlò dátà rẹ? Ìdáàbòbo àmúlò dátà rẹ wà lórí áàpù rẹ. Yọ àwọn áàpù tí ò wúlò mọ́ kúrò lórí fóònù rẹ àti pé púpọ̀ lára àwọn áàpù wọ̀nyí ló ní data safer mode mú àtúnṣe ìgbàlódé bá wọn. O tún lè lọ sórí setting kí o yọ auto update kúrò lójú òpó. Ní ìparí, tí àwọn áàpù tí o kò lò mọ́ kí o lè rí dátà rẹ lò lálòpẹ́. Àwọn ìgbésẹ̀ wọ̀nyí lè ṣe ọ́ ní àǹfààní. Fún ẹ̀kúnrẹ́rẹ́ àlàyé, kàn sí ìtàkùn ẹ̀rọ léwọ̀ rẹ tàbí ìtàkùn consumer.ncc.gov.ng fún àwọn ọ̀nà tí ó ṣe ọ́ láǹfààní lórí àmúlò dátà rẹ. Gbé àwọn ìgbésẹ̀ tí àjọ tó ń rí sí ètò ìbáraẹnisọ̀rọ̀ NCC.
Is it okay to make fun of our tooth gap? Let's have a talk. Colgate makes your teeth so strong. Stop cover your mouth. Not to do yanga with your smile. Brush your teeth with Colgate. Zero cavities and fresh breath. If you use a Colgate paste. Not to do yanga with your smile. Brush your teeth with Colgate. Colgate, #1 oral care brand in the world.
If the question is, can you name a really unforgettable gaming experience? The answer is always Betano. Join now with fantastic betting options, cash out, engaging missions, and a welcome bonus of up to 200,000 Naira, plus many more exclusive features. Betano, the game starts now. Bet responsibly. Available only to those over the age of 18. Proud partner of Aston Villa. When it's football you want, get it all on DSTV. All the leagues, all the cups, all the matches live. Because when it comes to football, we've got it all. All day, all night. No matter what package you're on, you're always going to get football on DSTV.
Get an HD decoder at the promo offer of 22,900 Naira and stay connected. DSTV, your home of football.
Start your day and have a good time. 𝐃𝐈𝐒. And where you need to have the break time. 𝐃𝐈𝐒. It's not tea, but Gary time. 𝐃𝐈𝐒. 𝐃𝐈𝐒. Inojo mi o. My heart is burning. My head, my body, everywhere is burning. Ah, Ura.
What could drive this iron lady to a breaking point? Find out in Wura, Season 3, a Showmax original telenovela. Subscribe from 1,600 Naira monthly. Sign up now at showmax.com.
You're listening to 32 FM 94.9.
All right, glad to have you back with us, 32 FM 94.9. It's time to take your reactions to the headlines this morning. 0705 5949, 0829 7949. Hello, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Yes, so, DENIKE, the government is now actually dissuading. They are actually imposing and telling us not to talk again. I actually see dissuading is trying to appeal, but this time they are not appealing. That's why you look at the treason proof that you said now. 10 million for speaking out and asking that, please, why should such thing be? This is actually turning into a set of dictatorial government. We are appealing. January, I think, 8, 2012, this, our loving president, spoke up against that very government, and when they protested, how come the very thing now is what he is doing? And I actually want to look at this. I hope Fagbemi SAN is not involved in this, because I will be the most disappointed in it all. I actually ask this because he's been taking the right steps in some issues. But I hope with this, and like Prof said, that they even granted them bail, means that the judge actually is looking at it as a mighty. Good morning, this is.
All right, thank you. 0705 5000 949, 0829 7949. We're live on Facebook, 32FM 949 Ibadan. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
This is Gengamari calling from Apata. Now, what the last caller said, I want to make a correction. He said our lovable president. To me, it's not my lovable president at all. The lovables of a thing, for me, I move from it. It's just a normal Mr. President. Why will you try to give a bail condition of 10 million naira to those to a peaceful protester? Those people, they didn't kill now. They didn't kill anyone. Just came out to make their feelings known. And this government is being tyrant in nature. We thought Abacha is the most tyrannical government that we have, but not knowing that we still have someone who will be a civilian president, and now he has gone this far. Now, look at Jonathan. The most criticized government in this country is Jonathan regime, and Jonathan never tortured anyone. Once people go out to protest, Jonathan will reverse his decision. And to me, I thought what is name, P-Batch will be a burden remover from all Nigeria. I don't know that it's going to add to our sorrow. Now, it's not in the country. He has been here for close to 3 weeks now, and has been moving up and down. And they have not even come back to Nigeria to let Nigeria know that to come and put an end to our suffering. Is there flying up and down where there is God in everything we are doing. By 2027, we know where we're putting. Thank you very much and have a nice day.
Thank you. Appreciate your time. Hello. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
This is John Oladiwaju calling from Magbo. No matter how threat the government may be, people will still talking. They can never silence the people. They can try it, but they cannot. We have seen so many past so-called leaders that behave like tyrants. But at the end of the day, people also people still talking, and at the end of the day, people also have their way. So to me, it's not a new thing. So let them continue to try every means to think that they can tame the people, they can stop the people. So it's not going to be possible. And for the IMF, as far as I'm concerned, it depends on the government. And the government has been dancing to the tunes of the IMF since when they got to the power. The last administrative did so. And we saw what ended.
Right.
This will also continue. So if they continue or try to be dancing to the tones of IMF and they try to increase the fuel again, the one that we have already still affecting us. So if they think that they can even add it to it,
thank you.
Maybe they are just doing it for their own, don't let me just videos. They are just doing it, sir. Maybe
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Caleb Alabi from Malaka Shaboru. I just want to comment on the statement carried to IMF that advise the president, advise the federal government to protect the poor from hike in petrol price. Because since the move of subsidy, you have been earning more financial allocation to local government, state government, and federal government. But the effect has not been felt by the masses. They're just hearing of million being shared by all these sectors of government, but to provide the provision for the masses that are suffering. No, they don't need it. You see that government is not sensitive to the plight of the masses. It is how can IMF be advising the federal government to protect the poor? Secondly, I want to comment on the statement carried to Oba Obini, who said his prayer is a traditional chief. Go and organize prayer in view of coming election in the Edo State. I give kudos to that Oba. His life belongs because he seek the peace of Benin, and then also seek the peace of Jerusalem. They shall live, they shall be prosper. Have a nice working day.
All right, quickly, our Facebook. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Ade from UI. From all these news that we'll be hearing here and there, protesters arrested, jailed, banned again from another protest. Another plan to increase fuel. I want to ask this question. This body, this totally corrupt body, some people call ECOWAS, are they looking at what's going on in Nigeria? If anything happens now, you see them, all this kind of, look at the attitude, what they have brought to Edo State now. I thank God for Obaseki that is not signing any party deal. Because if I were Obaseki, before you sign any deal, why have you arrested 10 people, PDP members to Abuja, before you ask us to come and sign a feelings accord?
Let them make that place ungovernable for them until after the election. We are all Nigerians. That's the best of the day.
All right, to quickly take some comments on our Facebook. Okedran Babatune says, Kinkeni, and good morning. Borno State government should guide against such occurrences in future. Let the government put in place necessary corrective measures, while other governors should learn, but not wait until they experience such. 𝐃𝐈𝐒 again, it is a slap on the security officers in the country for such a threat coming from a miscreant. Security officers should go after 𝐃𝐈𝐒, not the likes of Ajaero protesters, calling the attention of the government to happenings in the country. Balkis Onodiran says back in 2014, Buhari and his cohort of propagandists asked Nigerians protesting the removal of fuel subsidies if any exchange rate of 216 naira to $1 was acceptable. Unfortunately, Nigerians couldn't foresee that they would drive the exchange rate even higher. Years later, the APC has drained the nation's resources and the dollar is now approaching 2,000 naira. The APC is revealing to Nigerians new depths of hardship, just a glimpse of what's to come. Una never see anything. And some more here. George says, good morning. The problem of Bello Turji and other bandit leaders is that the security general and commanders are deeply compromised, and this continues to fuel the banditry. The CDS and the IGP are only trying to pull a wool on our faces to hide their atrocities and corruptive benefits, either in the north or the Niger Delta assignment. You can see how they live larger than their means upon retirement in service. The political leaders are in cohort with the military generals. Otherwise, why is Tinubu still resistant in releasing the names of sponsors of terrorism and prosecuting them? We'll just take one more comment because it's time for us to go. Toluwala Shadetola says, with the critical situation Nigerians have been experiencing under the APC federal government, shows that they have no substantial blueprints to rescue Nigerians from hardship, but rather worsening it. Meanwhile, they promised us heaven on earth before they came on board, but it's the pity that we're experiencing hell on earth under their watch. May God deliver us from this government.
All right, quickly before we go, Prof, you see there any reactions to some of the comments we've heard?
No, at the end of the day, I'm just hoping that a day will come in Nigeria where protest will be seen as something normal and not something provocative. The government will accept it as part of improving governance and as part of improving the lives of people, rather than going through the elaborate waste of time and waste of resources of going to court for something that's probably going to end up in a discharge and acquittal.
All right, thank you very much, Professor Oluwajedogun, this morning for the incisive analysis. It was a pleasure having you. The Papers Review is back your way tomorrow, 6:30 a.m. I'm Kenny Dorutilu. Good morning.
And my name is DENIKE Ademoagun. The Smart Kids Show is up next.